Hello, everyone. So thrilled to have everybody back on our startup web series. I'm so excited about the episode today. Hello, Bob. How are you doing today?
Very well, Sonia. Thank you so much for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to an engaging dialogue.
So, Bob, I do have to tell you, right? I mean, I read your monthly media and entertainment newsletter, and it is one of the favorite piece of news that comes into my mailbox. So, I just want to ask you, like, based on all the work that we have done over the last couple of months, what is your favorite piece of work that we have done with any startup?
Well, the most exciting thing you could consider the NBA deal a startup because they're fundamentally trying to start up a new way to go to market and create a fan experience, and I think they're going to spin that off into a startup. That's probably the most interesting thing we've done as of recent. The ability to bring the fan experience both in the arena, potentially longer term, as well as at home into a new dynamic experience is really exciting. It's transferable to multiple sports. It's even transferable to enterprises. And we're quite excited about that.
So cool. And thank you so much for mentioning about the fan engagement piece, right? I mean, because of COVID, there has been so much disruption that has happened in the media and entertainment industry, like the soccer matches, the football matches, the cricket matches, everything used to be in person and the fans could engage directly with the players. How do you see some of that disruption playing in the industry, and what are some of the trends that you see Microsoft is capitalizing on?
Oh, massive change, just massive change. The biggest thing is direct to consumer, right? A lot of the sports leagues, a lot of the gaming entities, a lot of the network or broadcasters or content creators have now adopted a massive direct to consumer environment. HBO Max, Peacock from Comcast and NBC in the United States, Wave in Korea. There's all kinds of massive disruption of the existing broadcasting pattern, and largely a lot of specified advertising associated with. So I would say Microsoft has taken advantage of the whole direct-to-consumer distribution market. They've taken advantage of the AI machine language market to be able to help drive specific ads or specific programming to individualized content. Even remote production, you're going to see us come out with some content in the future where we're going to try and use Azure and a ton of startup content to build a remote production environment so that studios and broadcasters can create news broadcasts or sports broadcasts or movies with remote people all over the globe to create that content in a much more efficient and cost-effective manner.
So incredible. I mean, you mentioned some of the greatest partners. We are working in different parts of the world. And, as a part of your day-to-day job, you're leading about $2 billion of business in this sector. And you're also recruiting a variety of strategic partners as you think about capitalizing on these market trends. What are some of the criteria that you're looking for when you look at recruitment of these strategic partners? This could be something which would be very exciting and interesting for our startups as well.
Oh, that's a great question, Sonia. The highest thing that I look for is folks that know their knitting, that stick to their knitting and know exactly what they do and bring real value to a specific industry. Like in media, we've got folks that are really good at distribution. We've got folks that are really good at rendering. We've got folks that are, that really know their art and know it well. That's probably the first thing. The second thing we look for is loyalty to Azure, right? Microsoft is this platform company. We sort of approach the market as looking at it as taking a baked pie and making it bigger for everyone in the market. We're actively seeking partners that see value in that see us as a platform environment, not necessarily a competitive environment, and then want to port their stuff to our Azure platform, and then leverage our existing sales organization to help bring their products to market much more efficiently. So those are the two areas that I see us spending a lot of time in.
Super. And based on the criteria that you mentioned, do you see that there's a surge in the opportunities coming from the startup ecosystem, and how are we managing it as a company?
Oh, there's a huge opportunity. There are a lot of born in the cloud digital natives that are sort of coming into this market, particularly in the media and entertainment space. I just gave you a reference a minute ago to rendering. There's a lot of cartooning and all movies today are sort of set or are produced with animation as a backdrop. Very few live on set films are being done, particularly with the trend with all the superhero films and such. So there's a big growth in startups that have specific niches that oftentimes work with specific studios or specific producers and then become a massive startup, and they start working with more and more studios. And so this is just a hugely dynamic time. It's like all things, right? When the market changes, like something like COVID, you find a lot of creativity in the market will emerge from that.
Yep.
And that's an area that we're really excited about.
And just a last question, Bob, from my side would be, what are some of the ways in which our startups can potentially leverage the programs that are already existing, and how can we provide them the support to expand their business?
Great question. And as you're aware, we have a VC fund called the M12 entity, which is based in San Francisco, but we have global locations around the world where we're investing in different stages of startups and bringing them forward, providing resources to do that. And there's all kinds of funding. So, we talked about the Experience Center, and we've got those all over the world. We've got MTCs all over the world. So there are a lot of resources to bring engineering talent or bring marketing programs and just help them get off the ground. Microsoft is hugely interested in this startup community. The born in the cloud is such a dynamic change to the market, and it's an area we really want to invest in. So I would say, particularly in media and entertainment, the sky is the limit. There's a lot that we can do, and I'm very excited, and I encourage all the startups to reach out to us, and we can find places and niches for you all to fit.
Thank you so much, Bob. This was absolutely incredible and so encouraging to see that there are so many different avenues in which the startups could potentially leverage the various resources that exist within the company. Lastly, and I'm going to ask you this question anyway, you've worked with so many different companies, regardless of enterprise or startups or public sector organizations. What is like one or two advice that you would like to give to our audience who are thinking of disrupting the market and who are thinking of building net new products and services, just based on your learnings through the various engagements?
Well, the biggest change in today's market from just 4 or 5 years ago is the ability to fail fast, right? You can get some Azure credits, build an application quickly, present it to a dozen or half a dozen studios, get some feedback on it, and if something is wrong, you can shut that down and create a new application quickly, as long as you have a staff that understands Azure and understands the ability and the tools within the cloud. That's the biggest change, right? So there's not as much forward investment required. It's just ideation. The smarter and the more fine-tuned a startup is to a particular problem in an industry, we can exploit that faster. We can get the right resources to you quicker to help you go to market faster, and we can make you more successful quicker because of our enterprise presence and because we are a platform cloud, not a competitive cloud to most of those studios.
So here is the first question. If a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be?
It would be a comedy drama, and it might be called Big 2.
So cool. What is one of the things that you would like to put on your bucket list?
Visiting as many foreign capitals around the globe as I possibly can. Meeting new cultures just turns me on, like specifically in the media and entertainment space. As I see Indian content coming across, as I see Russian content coming across or Korean content, I really get excited about the way they're producing movies, learning about their cultures. So my bucket list is to visit every foreign capital around the world.
So cool. And Bob, if you're visiting India, I have a huge list of places that you must visit. So I'm very happy to share.
I love that. I've been to Delhi. I've been to Mumbai. I love India. So I'll gladly come back anytime.
Thank you. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Definitely a morning person. I am up at 5 o'clock and, by 9:30, I'm asleep.
What is the one thing that you have always wanted to do?
The one thing I've always wanted to do, well, I grew up wanting to be a professional baseball player. So I wanted to play in Dodger Stadium. And as a kid, I've always wanted to physically play in Dodger Stadium. Never got the opportunity, but I would have loved it.
What was your favorite book growing up?
The most influential book I ever read, probably Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. It had a huge impact on me. It made me see the world very differently than I had prior to that.
With that, thank you so much, Bob. Really appreciate the time. We really enjoyed the conversation, and hopefully we do get to meet in person very soon.
I hope the same. It was my pleasure to do this. Call anytime. I'm happy to do it. You all take care.